Hello, everyone, and welcome to another video on O-Levels Accounting series. So in this video, we are going to solve May-June 2016 paper 1, which is of multiple choice questions. This is the older version since the code has changed and the number of questions on paper 1 has changed from 2020. But this is an old version. As you see, this is 2016, and we will be solving variant 2 of paper 1. So let's get started and go through the multiple choice questions. Let's read the multiple choice one, which is about which task would not be carried out by a bookkeeper, right? So it's very imperative, it's very important to understand what a bookkeeper does. Bookkeeper is not the same as what an accountant will actually do. So there's a differentiation between that. And if you don't know what a bookkeeper does, I would highly encourage you to read more about what a bookkeeper does and what the responsibilities of a bookkeeper are. You can always Google it. I'm pretty sure that you will find a lot of information on that. But in this video, we will solely focus on solving the multiple choice question and understand how to answer these questions during the exam. Right, so the question focuses on the not part, right? So we have to spot which of the duties will not be performed by the bookkeeper. So posting cash receipts is actually done by a bookkeeper. Preparing financial statements, that's something is done by an accountant. So you actually have an answer right away. So the answer to multiple choice one is actually B. But we will see the option C and D. It's recording the entries in the purchase ledger. So this is done by a bookkeeper. Writing up the sales return journal. This is also done by a bookkeeper. So therefore, the answer to multiple choice one is actually option B. Multiple choice two. Goods purchased by Anna from Winston were returned before they were paid for. So Anna purchased basically, right? So Anna purchased goods from Winston. So Winston is the seller, Anna is the purchaser. Where will Anna record the return of goods, right? So where these goods, where the entry of return of goods will be recorded. So cash book and purchases ledger, no. This is actually an incorrect option. Cash book has nothing to do here. Purchase ledger is correct, but cash book has nothing to do anything here. Journal ledger only. So this is actually correct, but it's not going to be journal ledger only. So this then basically meaning that it's actually wrong. Option C, journal ledger and purchases ledger, yes. So it will be recorded. So this entry will be recorded in journal ledger and purchases ledger. So the correct answer to multiple choice 2 is actually option C. Multiple choice 3, which document does a trader send to a credit customer to summarize the transaction for the month, right? So basically a summary statement which tells us all the transactions, right? So it's not going to be credit note, debit note, nor a receipt. I mean, this is a very clear and easy multiple choice question. So answer to multiple choice 3 is actually option D, the statement of account. The statement of account is actually a summary of the transactions that have happened during a month or any particular time period. So, companies can prepare a statement of account on weekly basis as well. So for like clients who do a lot of trading activity, companies can have a weekly statement of account which will summarize the transactions that will happened in that 1 week. Let's see multiple choice 4. So multiple choice 4 says Aldo buys and sells goods on credit. A check received by Aldo was dishonored by the bank. So a check was received by Aldo, right? So basically someone, which is an account receivable, any accounts receivable paid to Aldo, but due to insufficient funds, the check was dishonored. So Aldo did not receive any money, right? So basically Aldo did not receive any money. So how would he record this dishonored check? So account to be debited and account to be credited. So it's very simple, right? So it's simple in a way that the Aldo did not receive any money, so the bank bank should go down. And if asset goes down, you always credit, right? So option A and option B are immediately, you can cross it out. So you come down to 50-50 again, right? So what would be on the debit side? So credit side is going to be bank, that's for sure, but what's going to be on the debit side? So we are talking about a customer here, so of course it's going to be it's actually going to be a customer, right? So credit customer. So the answer to multiple choice 4 is actually option C. Multiple choice 5. Wasim received a bank statement. He found that the bank had charged interest twice in error and that dividend has been received on an investment, right? So all this information now from this to this sentence, right? This information is coming from bank statement. From bank statement, not his cash book. It's coming from his bank statement. The questionnaire says, right? So it's very important that you are paying attention to the question. And I hope you are watching this video throughout, so you understand, like, you have to keep your nerves in control. So if you have done enough practice, if you can read the question very well, you can actually ace this exam. These exams are not that hard, just need a little more practice and an open mind to understand the question. Wasim then updated cash book, right? So he updated the cash book and prepared a bank reconciliation statement. Where did he record these two items, right? So these were the two items, interest and dividend. And this was all coming from, bank statement, right? So there are two, bank error for the interest and then dividend, two columns, right? So for dividend, he needs to update the cash book. For dividend, he needs to update the cash book. He hasn't done the cash book update because the information was provided from the bank statement, right? So that's what it's saying, right? I hope you're getting my point here. It's the information is in the bank statement, not in the cash book for dividend. So it's either going to be option B. It's either going to be option B or option D. It's not going to be option A or option C. Right. So now, would he update the cash book for bank error? No, because that has already been done. Interest has already been taken care of in the cash book. So you would update the bank reconciliation statement for the bank error. All right. So the answer to multiple choice 5 is going to be option B. Multiple choice 6. The following account appeared in Amna's ledger, Syed's account, right? So in Amna's ledger, there is a Syed's account. His balance is debit balance. So Syed is basically an accounts receivable, right? This is important to understand in the question, and you can only do so by looking at what's the balance. If it's a credit balance, if this was a credit balance, then Syed is going to be an accounts payable. But if this is a debit balance, then it's accounts receivable. Right, and now we need to understand which statement is true, right? So that's the second keyword over there. Like two important things to pay attention in this case. It's the balance is the debit or credit balance of the opening, and then whether you need to spot a true statement or a false statement, right? So the question could change, like which statement is false. They could also ask you which statement is false. That's a very, they would of course change these things there. But they could examiners could ask you this question. But let's see which statement is going to be true. On 1st September, Amna owed Syed $400. No, it's the opposite. Syed owes Amna. So Syed needs to pay 400 to Amna. On 14th September, Syed purchased goods $600 on credit from Amna. So sales, right? So this is actually correct. Now this might be a little, it might take a little time to absorb this because the word here used is sales. So Amna sold goods, right? Amna sold goods to Syed. But for Syed, it's a purchase. Syed purchased goods from Amna, right? So that's what option B is saying. So on 14th September, which checks out, 14th September, Syed purchased goods. He definitely did for $600 on credit from Amna. So everything basically checks out. So the correct answer to multiple choice 6 is actually option B. Let's look on to multiple choice 7. So multiple choice 7 basically is what is a trial balance? So just simple definition of trial balance. It's actually option C is the correct answer. It's a statement of ledger balances on a particular date. So for balance sheet, this is balance sheet. This is balance sheet. If you go through the options one by one, assets and liabilities. A statement of assets and liabilities is the balance sheet. A statement of income and expenditure is P&L or income statement. A statement of profit and loss for a particular period is again P&L. Right, so a trial balance is a statement where it gives you different balance, like balances of different accounts. You know, if you remember a trial balance, you have two columns, debits and credits, and then you have different accounts, for example, cash, then sales, rent expense, right? So you have different accounts and then you would have balances. So cash can have debit balance, sales should have a credit balance, rent is an expense, so debit balance, right? And then these numbers should actually be equal. Debit is always equals to credit. Right, so that's multiple choice 7. The answer is option C. Multiple choice 8. A trial balance did not balance, or trial balance did not balance. Which error caused? So you need to read and identify which of the errors will actually cause a trial balance to not balance. So a check $300 received from M Green was credited in the cash book and debited in M Green's account. So even though the entry has been done incorrectly, but in this case, debits are equal to credit. Even though this entry is wrong, but it's not impact, it won't have any impact on the balance. It will still balance. Debit is always equals to credit in this case. Purchase of goods from J Black 750 was debited in the purchases account and credited in J Blackshaw's account. So, you know, purchase goods from J Black 750 was debited in the purchases account and credited to J Blackshaw's account. So this is actually a correct entry because goods were purchased, so debit purchases and then credit the accounts payable account for that customer for that supplier. Then repairs of 500 were debited in the premises account. So again, repairs is a expense account which will have a debit balance, and premises is also an asset account which will have a debit balance. So this has no impact. So it's incorrect, but still has no impact on the balance, right? So option A, B, and C are not the correct answer. So the answer to multiple choice 8 is actually option B then. Sales journal was overcast by $1,000, right? So you have overstated. So you have company has overstated the balance. So this will of course create differences in balance, trial balance, basically. Let's look at option multiple choice 9. Alice's financial year ends on 31st December. The balances in her books on 1st January included the following. So commission received had a debit balance of 250, and then rent received has a credit balance of 500. What do these balances represent? Right, so commission received, so all these are basically income items, and when income item has a debit balance, that means that that income is outstanding. And if it has a receivable is a credit, that means that income has been earned prior to be right. So it's an advance income, basically. In simple terms, it is an advance income. So the answer to multiple choice 9 is actually option B. Not that the difficult question, I would say. You just need to understand what these different balances represent in different accounts, right? So let's say this is actually commission received and rent received, right? So this is an income items. So income items, for example, if this was like accounts receivable, right? Account receivable have a debit balance. That's another example. So account receivable is an income outstanding. Another example for income outstanding is actually accounts receivable. So therefore, the answer to multiple choice 9 is option B. Multiple choice 10, motor repairs 250 have been posted in error to the motor vehicles account. So the motor repairs, which is an expense account, has been understated. and motor vehicles account has been overstated, which is an asset account. So what is the effect on the financial statements? Profit for the year, non-current assets. So for non-current assets, as I already said, it's going to be overstated. So it's either A or C. It's not going to be B or D. All right. So expenses have been understated. So if expenses are understated, then your profit is overstated. Right. So the answer to multiple choice 10 is actually option A, because your profit is overstated. On the other hand, your non-current assets are also overstated because $250 should not be in the motor vehicles account. Right? They should be in the motor repairs expense account. Multiple choice 11, a business allowed Lee, a customer, $40 cash discount. The discount was entered in the discount allowed account, but omitted from Lee's account. A suspense account was opened. What are the correcting entries, right? So Lee is a customer, a discount was allowed. So Lee needs to pay $40 less. Right, so he needs to pay $40 less, which means you have to reduce your accounts receivable. How do you reduce your accounts receivable? You reduce your accounts receivable by crediting it. So where do you see credit side? Option A and option D. So it's not going to be B or C for sure. The entry for discount allowed has already been made. The question says it. So you can eliminate option A as well. So the answer to multiple choice 11 is actually going to be option D. So the answer to multiple choice 11 is option D, debit suspense account and credit lease account. Multiple choice 12, a trader provided the following information. What was the balance of the sales ledger control account on 28th Feb? Right, so basically you have a summary of transactions here, summary of balances here as well. Not really transactions, but summary of balances. If you remember, now this is very imperative here. If you are a person who memorizes things, like you can memorize the formats. You can memorize the format of sales ledger control account for the question, or you can try to understand the question, right? So sales ledger control account has a balance of 6320 on the debit side. So this is what is supposed to be received, right? Then the total sales that happened during the year during the month, which is February, is 51,200. So basically 6320 plus 51,200, you will add these two numbers, and this will give you, and you should do these calculations by yourself. I'm not going to calculate the numbers here, but I'm just trying to give you the summary here, and you should punch in the numbers by yourself in the calculator if you're watching this video here. So total sales, basically, so this would be the number for total sales. Now, items that reduce the sales are basically all these. So you need to deduct these items from this total here. So you need to deduct now this and this, right? So you need to deduct this. So 6320 plus 5200 and minus all these items, right? So why am I saying that you need to deduct this? Because this actually reduces the sales amount. So sales return journal total, that reduces the sales. Cash received from credit customers, that reduces the sales. It doesn't reduces the revenue, but it reduces that sales amount over there because that cash has been received. Cash received from the credit customers, right? Checks received from the credit customers, that is again a money received, which reduces the amount on the sales ledger control. And then discount allowed equally reduces it as well, right? So the answer to multiple choice 12 is actually going to be option A. When you do this maths here, 6320 plus 51,200 minus the sum of all these 1024, 830, 5340, 670, this will give you the answer, which is 4656 or 4656, 4656, whichever is easier for you to remember. But you don't need to remember the number. You need to remember the sales ledger control account formula or the format of the account to calculate the number correctly, right? So the answer to multiple choice 12 is actually option A. Multiple choice 13, a trader provided the following information. What was the capital employed, right? So capital employed has two things. Capital can be from loan and then equity, right? So how do you calculate equity, right? So you have to actually make use of accounting equation here. Assets minus liabilities equals to equity. You are not given the equity number here. You need to calculate the equity number. So your assets will be sum of 137,000, 44,500. And for liability, you will only take the non-current liability, which is 18,000. So you have to exclude this because this is part of capital employed. This is part of capital employed. This is part of capital employed. Not current liabilities are not part of capital employed, but non-current liabilities are part of capital employed. When you do the maths in here, you should come to an answer of 163,500, which is option C. So the answer to multiple choice 13 is actually option C. Multiple choice 14 is a very easy question. It's actually option A. What is the working capital? It's the difference between current assets minus current liabilities. So that's current assets minus current liabilities. The answer to multiple choice 15 is actually 14 is actually option A. Leary sublets part of his business office premises to Boris. How can Leary calculate the rent receivable for the year, right? So you need to calculate the rent received for that current year. So you will take the amount received. Yes, that's correct. Minus the opening accrual. Yes, that's correct. Minus the closing prepayment. That's correct as well. So the answer to actually multiple choice 15 is option A, because that exactly gives you the rent receivable for the year. Amount received is not the same as the total amount that was received for that 1 year, right? Amount received could be some of the amount could belong to the previous year, some of the amount could belong to the next year, right? So that closing prepayment basically means the amount that belongs to the next year. So you need to deduct that because that does not belong to current year. That's why you need to deduct it. Whereas opening accrual, that money belongs to the last year. So that's why you need to deduct it from the current year, right? So that's why you need to deduct both of these amounts. And therefore, the correct answer to multiple choice 15 is option A. Multiple choice 16, which group of items appears in a partnership appropriation account, right? So it's a partnership appropriation account, which tells you how the money has been distributed during the year among partners. So that will include interest on, that will include drawings. No, I don't think so. Interest on capital, yeah. Partner salaries, yes. So actually it's not option A because drawings is not going to be included. Interest on capital, yes. Interest on drawings, yes. Partner salaries, yes. The answer to multiple choice 16 is actually option B. So that's the correct answer. These are the items that would be included in the partnership appropriation account. The other way to answer this question would be to remember what is included in partnership appropriation account, right? So you should have a format in your head that, okay, what is included in partnership appropriation account. But if you want to understand the concept, partnership appropriation account is an account which tells you how the money has been distributed among partners during the year, like what has been distributed to the partners, right? So the items that have been distributed to the partners. So those are the items that are included in partnership appropriation account. Then we have multiple choice 17, which is about Fran and David are sole traders. They agree to amalgamate their businesses and to share profit and losses equally. Fran's goodwill was valued at 8,000 and David's at 6,000. How will goodwill be recorded in the books of the new business, right? So how this goodwill will be recorded? Goodwill is an asset. Goodwill is an intangible asset, right? Intangible asset. Goodwill is going to go up. So that means basically it's going to be debit, right? So it's either going to be option B and option D. So it's not option A and option C. If you look at the balances, this is equal 7,7. This is incorrect. That's what it should be this 8 and 6, right? So the correct answer to multiple choice 17 is actually option B. Multiple choice 18, what may appear in the income and expenditure account of a sports club, right? So what would a decrease in, so no, this is not an income and expenditure item. This is a cash flow or a balance sheet item, basically. If we don't, if we are talking in normal terms, not the club accounting. Club accounting has a different term for that. Increase in inventory refreshments, this is not also in income and expenditure. Purchase of new sports equipment, no. Receipts from renting out a clubhouse, yes. The answer to multiple choice 18 is option D. This is basically income. This is an income for a sports club. Right, this is an income for a sports club. So the correct answer to multiple choice 18 is option D. Multiple choice 19, sports club provided the following information: subscriptions received during the year 12,000, subscriptions owing at the year 1,200, and subscription owing at the end of 800. What was the amount of subscriptions shown in the income and expenditure, right? So the amount that has been basically earned. So if you look at the difference, so this went down by 400, so that's received. Right, the difference between opening and closing balance is down by 400. So that $400 has been received, and what you received during the year is 12,000. Right, so 12,000 minus 400, which is 11,600. So that's actually the correct amount that has been received that in that 1 year. So this is the answer to multiple choice 19 is going to be option A, 11,600. A trader supplied the following information. What was the profit for the year, right? So what was the profit for the year? So 30 plus 50, 30 plus 50, no, not 30 plus 50, right? So you need to first understand what has happened in here. So capital at the start is 30,000. Additional capital introduced during the year is 18,000. So 30 plus 18 is 48. That's the total beginning capital, let's say, that you have. Capital at the end year is 50, right? So you made a profit of 2K or 2,000, and then you need to add back the drawings as well, because that's what partners have taken, or the owner of the business has taken. So the total profit is going to be 14K. You need to add these two numbers. So the answer to multiple choice 20 is going to be option B. Multiple choice 21, what is a markup? Gross profit expressed as a percentage of cost of sales, yes. So the answer to multiple choice 21 is actually option A. But of course, when you are in the exam, you always have pressure, right? So you should go through all the options one by one, just to make sure that you have chosen the correct option. It's very rare that you would get the correct option at the very beginning, but in some cases, yes, you do. So in this case, you have got the correct option as your top choice, option A. So the correct answer for multiple choice 21 is option A. Gross profit expressed as a percentage of cost of sales is called markup. So multiple choice 22, which item is directly affected by dividend policy of a limited company? So which item is directly affected by dividend policy of the company? So in this case, actually going to be retained earnings, right? So that's where dividends come from. That's where dividends, let's say, are paid from. So the answer to multiple choice 22 is going to be option D. All these items are actually irrelevant. So ordinary share capital and preference share capital, of course, the amount of dividend will be affected. So if there is an increase in number of shares issued for ordinary or preference share capital, then it might impact the amount of dividend, but it's not impacting the dividend policy. Dividend policy is different than the amount of dividend paid, right? So dividend policy directly will impact the retained earnings, because retained earnings are used to pay dividends. Let's look at multiple choice 23. So a limited company provided the following information. We have issued share capital, profit, transfer, interim ordinary dividend. We have the dollar amounts here. On 30th April 2016, it was decided to use the remaining profit to pay a final ordinary dividend, final ordinary share dividend. What percentage final dividend would be the ordinary shareholders receive, right? So basically, the remaining profit. So it's like so 13K is your profit for the year. Transfer to general reserve 13 minus 6 will reduce the amount of profit, and then the interim ordinary share dividend, which is paid, which is 3. So 13 minus 3, 10, 10 minus 6, 4, right? So 4K is left. This will be the amount that is distributed to ordinary shareholders, is the remainder amount, and then the number of or the ordinary share capital is 50K or 50,000. And then this 4 over 50K will actually give you 0.8. So 0.08, sorry, it should be 0.08. So the answer to multiple choice 23 is going to be option A, 8%. Multiple choice 24, a manufacturer provided the following information. What was the prime cost? Prime cost is basically sum of all direct costs, right? So you only need to take the direct cost, which is a direct material and direct labor. All these are basically overheads or indirect cost. So direct material plus direct labor, 20 plus 10 is 30K. So the answer to multiple choice 24 is actually option B. Multiple choice 25, at the end of the financial year, a manufacturer had inventory of finished goods, raw materials, and work in progress. Which inventories will appear in manufacturing account? So it's only these two, raw materials and work in progress. Raw materials and work in progress. So that's going to be option C. So the answer to multiple choice 25 is actually option C. Multiple choice 26, Dhoni's basic pay is $4 per hour. He's paid overtime as follows. Dhoni, so Saturday is 1.5 times, which is 1.5. Double time is 2. Dhoni worked 6 hours on Saturday, 4 hours on Sunday. How much overtime? How much was he paid for the overtime work, right? So fairly simple question. On Saturday, he worked 6 hours, so $4 times 6 times 1.5. This is for Saturday, and then $4 times 6 times 2. No, sorry. So he worked 4 hours on Sunday. So 4 times 4 times 2. This is on Sunday, and then just sum them up total. That should give you. If I do the maths in here, let's see. That should give you actually $68. So the answer to multiple choice 26 is option D. So multiple choice 27, an employee deducts income tax from staff wages each week and pays it to the government once a month on the last day of the month, right? Once a month on the last day. So all these withholding taxes from employees' wages are paid to the tax department by the company on the last day of the month, right? So that's what is happening. What is the entry posted to the credit side of the income statement on 10th January represent? So that's actually, the amount deducted. So option C, 27, option C, the amount deducted from staff wages on that date, right? So it's a liability, credit side, it's a liability. Which has been already deducted from employee wages, which will be paid at some point in time on 10th January, right? So it's not 31st. They say on the last day of the month. So it's still not the last day of the month. It's just the amount deducted. So you need to pay attention to the date. If it was 31st, then it might change. The answer might change. But in this case, it's 10th, and they pay only the last date. So the correct answer to multiple choice 27 is option C. Multiple choice 28 is about accounting ratio. You need to calculate turnover of inventory, which is simply COGS over average inventory. How do you calculate average inventory? That's opening inventory plus closing inventory over 2. You are provided with opening inventory, you're provided with closing inventory, you're provided with cost of sales. So you have all these 3 numbers, and I urge you to calculate these numbers by yourself, because that's the only way you will be able to learn, right? So you take the COGS, which is $300,000. I will still write down the formula, right, for you to follow. Then for average inventory, it's going to be 35,000 plus 45,000 over 2, and this will give you the answer as option C, 7.5 times. So the answer to multiple choice 28 is option C. Multiple choice 29 and 30, they are going to be about financial or accounting concepts. I mean, it's all accounting concepts, but this is about the core accounting concepts. Omar purchased land 10 years ago for 25,000. He has been offered 60,000 for the land. He thinks that the land may be worth $100,000 now. At what value the land should be recorded in Omar's financial statement of financial position? The answer to multiple choice 29 is option A. This is because of historical cost concept. You remember historical cost concept, right? Which says this is about accounting principles, right? So historical accounting concept says that no matter what the asset is worth 10 years down the road, 20 years down the road, the asset is still recorded at the cost which company purchased. So Omar purchased the land for $25,000, and he will still be able to record that on the statement of financial position as at $25,000, no more, no less. So it's still going to be $25,000 on his financial statement or balance sheet per se. Multiple choice 30, which statement is not true about the reasons for using international accounting standards? Which statement is not true about the reasons, right? So not true about the reasons for using international accounting financial standards. Helps making companies, helps when making comparisons between companies, right? So it does help, so it's true. Improves the reliability of accounting information. Improves the reliability of accounting information, that's true. Narrows the difference between companies, that's true. Makes the preparation of financial statements less time consuming. No, it makes more time consuming. So this is actually not true. So this is a false statement. This is not true. So the correct answer to multiple choice 30 is option D. So thank you very much for watching this video. If you like this video, please give it a thumbs up, share with your friends, and comment on the video to let me know if you have any questions or any more videos that you would like me to do. And if you have watched till the end, thank you very much for watching this video. Don't forget to subscribe to my channel and give it a thumbs up if you like this video. Thank you very much.